you say your last name?
Yes, sir.
Teague. Dude, so I first found out about you through Instagram. Like, I know a few of mutual friends of ours, Matthew Moody.
Yeah, and Nina. I think that's when I met you. I was hanging out with Nina, and Moody was somewhere. We were watching Blake Anthony fight at Island Fights.
Yeah. And that's the first time I saw you in person, but I had been seeing your stuff a little bit before that. Maybe like summertime. I think you had just like fought a few UFC guys.
Yeah, I fought on Fury. So that was like August. Yeah, around August in Dallas. That was really the fight that put me on the map for real, you know, because I only had like 600 followers for like the longest time. And then I had that crazy fight, and you know, here I am now. Now people, when I go around places, they kind of recognize me. So it feels nice to finally be moving up, I guess, in the fight world. Yeah,
you definitely have like a distinct look visually, but also like your fighting style is fun. It's not like, it doesn't come across like you're like using MMA as like a business transaction to get to the next step. You're like passionate. It looks like you're having fun. It doesn't look like you're not that you're not super calculated, but it just doesn't look like. I just had this conversation with my buddy RJ. Like, there's certain people in the industry like that everybody knows. So I'll use like UFC fighters that like will strategically win fights just to keep doing that, like Colby Covington or like Damian Maia. It's like people that like
point fighters.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But it looks like you're out there like having fun, but you're out there to win, if that makes sense. Like, you're going for the kill. You're not just like,
I'm always looking for the finish.
Yeah.
I like the kind of like since I've been a fan my whole life growing up, you know, I used to like I grew up watching Chuck Liddell and Jens Pulver, all these guys, you know, and they were always going for finishes and stuff. You know, my favorite fighters are like Gagey, Robbie Lawler. These guys are always looking for finishes, always in exciting fights. So I kind of like, it's like the fan in me when I'm fighting. I like to think like, oh, the crowd, they want to see this. They want to see that. They don't want to see me push a dude on the cage and hold him there, or lay on a guy for 5 minutes, get a boring decision win just to get the win. Like, you know, you put the fans first, you know, because at the end of the day, you know, I like to think of myself more as an entertainer than fighter. Yeah. So I'm always going for like the fight of the night or something like that, whatever. Fight of the year, like we're up for fight of the year right now for Fury, me and Austin. That awesome. Fight I had in Dallas. If you ask me, they should just go ahead and give it to me, but that's probably a little bias on my part. But I don't know. You're not going to see too many fights like that on the regional scene, that two high-level guys just brawling out like that, because that was his style too. So it was really just like a match made in heaven, I guess. So, yeah, always looking for the finish, always thinking of the fans, you know. So when I'm out there, it's the fan in me fighting too. Yeah,
like when you first started fighting and like developing your skill, did you automatically fall right into that, or was it like for example, when I first started jiu-jitsu, the day I started jiu-jitsu, I started Muay Thai. I did that for a year, and then I switched gyms, and I never really kept up with the Muay Thai thing. So I fell off from striking and just fell in love with jiu-jitsu. But for that first year, or the first couple months, it was like I was timid because I didn't know how to get hit.
Right.
Like, I knew how to throw something, but if I threw something and I got hit, it would like mess up my mental pattern of how to move. And I also didn't know how to get hit. Like, I'd get hit and it like the glove would touch my eye, and I'd be like, fuck, that hurt my eye pretty bad.
Yeah.
Like, not that the punch was hard, but it was like your eye gets dry from it. So it's like I didn't know how to block or anything. So were you ever in that like timid space before you, or you just a brawler?
I think, you know, it's kind of like a mental thing, I guess. You know, some people, obviously you don't want to get hit and stuff, but some people react a lot different to getting hit and stuff, and then some of us are just dumb like me, and they just take it and keep going. But I don't know. I never really had an issue of getting hit to give one back, I guess you could say. And I guess, I mean, I've been like an athlete my whole life growing up and stuff, so I think it kind of helps too. Like, I don't know if you played any sports growing up or anything.
I played, I did a couple seasons of football from 10, 11, 12, and then I think I didn't pick it back up again until 16.
Yeah.
And then I skateboarded, not that that's a...
I'd say that's a sport.
So, yeah, like it's like an alternative sport.
Yeah.
So I did that from like 9 or 10 to 26. So like 16 years. So it's like those types of things, or like pick up basketball, but never like for a team.
Yeah, like organized sports. Like
Yeah.
I've been in organized sports since I was like 4. So I really think like a lot of fighters too, like we got a lot of younger guys in my gym and stuff that when they first start fighting, you know, they get out in front of a crowd, you know, they get nervous or they don't fight like how they do in the gym, you know, because, you know, under the lights is different. To me, it's like night and day, the same thing, honestly.
Yeah.
Like the switch is always on. Like I think it really does help because I did that growing up. So I would say more of it like an athlete thing, just a toughness thing.
Yeah.
But obviously there's some fighters that make it that don't like getting hit a whole lot, and you know they base their style off that. So I don't know really honestly the science behind it or whatever to being able to take a hit or not. I really think like the chin thing too, a lot of people that like you see a lot of guys that take a lot of damage in the UFC that, you know, they hardly never ever get knocked out, you know.
Yeah, like Max is a good example.
Those guys, yeah, like Max, he can go all 5 rounds the same pace. I think it's like a big cardio thing. So
yeah, I will say like something flipped about like 6 months into it, and like I figured out how to get hit. Now, if I tried it again, I'd probably get back to that like not know how to get hit. But it was more so like when I was moving, it felt clunky, and I felt like when you first start to learn how to hit pads with somebody and you don't know anything from anything, and they're like giving you like combos, you feel like embarrassed if you don't do it right because they know so much and know so well how to move the pads and set you up. So you're like, fuck, I'm messing this up in front of this person. That is how I would relate it to when I got hit. So I'd be like, oh, they hit me. Now I have no idea where to block because they hit me and I just closed my eyes completely. I wouldn't keep anything open or blocking. And I don't know. Eventually that went away. But I feel like it's like that unsung thing. Like you're born a certain way. Like you're born like with drive to do crazier stunts or like to be like a rider.
yeah,
Or like, you know, you're just born with an innate thing in you that like that's just part of your style of who you are. And I think that's like how those fighters become the way they are. They're just like born that way. Like sometimes I feel like you can develop into maybe typically those types of people will polish themselves into like a more refined version of it. It's not often that somebody's like a precision striker and then they become a brawler.
right.
You know, like they become a...
You kind of molded into it.
Yeah.
Just how you fight and stuff. Like I've been brawling since I was like an amateur. It's like I can't go back and watch my old fights because I'm like, man, that guy, he's fucking terrible, man.
Yeah.
Like, but now, you know, I was more precise with my punches and stuff, and you know, it's more like I'm still brawling here and there, you know, getting caught in a firefight and stuff because it's just like natural to me, an instinct to get into that. Like last fight, I was dominating like the entire fight, and then the start of the second round, he just blitzed me like a last ditch effort to, you know, because he was getting tired, he was fading, and I just got sucked into it for like 10, 15 seconds. I just started slinging, and the whole fight, I was just picking him apart and out wrestling him and everything when he was trying to take me down. So I don't know. You gotta be careful doing that though, playing that game, because you know one day you'll get caught.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just need to have it more controlled. I think, you know, I'm only 9 fights in too as a pro, and I still don't have a whole lot of experience as some of these guys I fought and beat. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll just have to find a nice in between brawling and being technical.
I think you got a long road ahead of you though. Like your style is very like, it's something that's weird to describe. Like when you like a fighter, like what about that fighter do you like? But there's something about fighters, like certain fighters that you're drawn to, like whether it's their style, their movement. There's something about the way you move that is very entertaining to watch, you know? Like, yes, you are very good at striking, but it's like the way you move, and it's like, I mean, I'm not going to lie, that edit that y'all did with Guns N' Roses,
Oh,
that shit got me hyped, dude.
that's all Moody and Nina, or really Nina.
Really?
But yeah, she just started like editing like all these videos of us around the gym and stuff, and yeah, we got our own little hype woman, I guess.
Yeah, that's fucking dope, dude. Like that got me so hyped. I was like, dude, like even if somebody's on the fence about you, like I think watch that video and you're just like, fuck yes, dude.
Yeah.
Like even in your post fight, I think it was after that fight, maybe.
That one is the one that does have most of the clips wrong. Because
Yeah.
I mean, that was a I like to say that was a 50 grand fight because the UFC would give you fight and night bonus, but
Yeah.
obviously we didn't get compensated like that on the regional scene. But
Yeah.
that would be, if it was a UFC fight, a 50 grand fight. So I'm
sure.
hoping to get in there and have a couple more of them.
I think you'll get there, dude. Also, speaking a second ago, you said the switch is always on.
Mm-hmm.
So do you not feel like I'm only gonna speak from jiu-jitsu like point of view, but like
Right.
sometimes you'll go into a tournament and you like the nerves get the best of them. Like you'll feel nerves and you'll just be so shit. Like we have a buddy in our room. His name's Dustin. Super fucking good purple belt.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes the nerves, he'll be throwing up before a match and he'll go out there and you won't even know that he even had a problem.
Yeah.
Like he moves so fluid and so like precise. Like face is unbothered. You would have no idea. But like if you know him, like you're on his team, he's a wreck before a match.
Right. I think that can be a good thing though too.
Yeah.
Because I would say it like on my Contenders fight, I kind of wish I did have more adrenaline because I haven't really been nervous since like my first fight. I was a little nervous my first fight ever, like as an amateur, but since then, like it's just what's the word for it? Like you're just waiting, anticipating, I guess. Yeah, like I don't know, like I'm not nervous. Like when I go out there, I don't have the mindset of I need to win this or lose. I just show up and fight, and whatever happens, happens. Is really what I've adopted since I've been a pro. And it was so weird because sometimes you still have like a little adrenaline, even when you're not nervous. You get out there. Like last fight I had it, and then the one in Dallas I had it. But the fight I lost on the Contenders, man, I was like I just felt like I belonged there, and I didn't have no nerves, no nothing. And honestly, I think that might have messed me up. Obviously the body shot was huge, but I think you definitely need to have some adrenaline or some sort of nerves before you fight, because then you're on your toes more and stuff. Like if you're not too relaxed when you're out there, you get too relaxed is when you get caught. And that fight on Contender Series, I was like 1 minute in, I was relaxed. I was like, oh, this is just like any other fight, We're hitting each other. I'm chasing him around the cage, I'm putting that pressure on him. It's about, I'm going to get him in the second or third round, and then I threw that jab and he hit me right in the solar plexus, and I didn't breathe for the next 40 seconds till the fight was over. So I think it's good to be on your toes out there and not too relaxed. But you want to be relaxed, but not like,
Yeah. You want to feel the pressure because you want it to mean something.
Yeah.
It's just like different people express that pressure differently. Dude, people really don't understand how that shot feels either. Like, dude, I used to have a coach, and he hit us like we were fighting.
Mm-hmm.
Like he would brawl with you. The first two I started with was like an older Brazilian guy, but he was like, he came from Vanderlei's camp when he was younger. So everything was like all out every day. So like he would hit us body shots and kicks and stuff like we were grown men. I mean, we are, but like not everybody there was. So he'd hit you with a body shot and you're like, I've never felt anything like that, Well,
I felt it in the gym before, I took a mean kick right there before and it dropped me, but nothing ever to the head. It's always a body shot. So I think you gotta be careful with them body shots. A lot of people don't realize that too, that don't fight, that the body, it hurts. I would rather you punch me in the face 100 times before you hit me in that spot again. So I don't know. I just went back in the gym and started getting my body beat up by my coach, Level, Muay Thai coach. He just started ripping me like every day after practice. So I'm not going to lose like that again. I promise that.
Yeah, there's something to that, like body conditioning, or even like you see certain cultures doing like the shin conditioning, like with sticks, or they'll like kick banana trees or whatnot.
Yeah.
It's like there's definitely something to that. When when I skateboarded a lot, not that I'm like proud of this now, but in the moment I thought I was so tough. Like I'd punch walls a lot.
Yeah.
Like just because you're frustrated, you're like, why the fuck can I not land this trick? Like what is the deal? And like my knuckles got so like thick at the time, it felt like. Now they feel like they're back to normal, but it's like, or playing quarters in high school. You know what quarters is?
Yeah.
Like the sliding and cutting your knuckles up. Like I have scars on my knuckles for, I guess, the rest of my life from it. But like you don't think about stuff like that, but it like translates for sure to fighting.
Yeah.
Like them being able to condition their body, and I don't think you'll ever be able to fully prepare for like something that is unseen. That's why like knockouts are so devastating.
The ones you don't see coming.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, you can brace all you want, and that's why I would assume slap is so popular, which is crazy that they just got the plain name like that, slap. Power slap.
Power slap, yeah.
Like, how did nobody already have that? Or if maybe they paid like a big penny for that.
They probably bought it.
What do you think about power slap?
The company I want to work for runs it, so I love it.
Yeah, good point. Would you ever like say, I don't even know, like when the right time, like after your career is to do power slap? I know like Paige Van Zant did it.
You couldn't pay me to do power slap.
Yeah.
There's no way I could let a grown man just slap me. Just straight up for free.
Yeah. Dude, I remember slap boxing got really popular in high school. Like, right as I was coming into high school, it was like blowing up. And I was like, dude, how do they slap box and not... I mean, there was a lot of fights from slap boxing. So it was like very often it just became a fucking brawl in our high school. But I went to Escambia, so it was like a... I don't know if you know anything about Escambia. I mean, I don't know anything about Mobile schools.
Like Escambia County?
Yeah, it's our main school. Or I say our main school. There's a bunch of schools here, but it's like Escambia High School. But it was
I played them in basketball.
Yeah, it was like
think.
kind of rough.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. But like slap boxing was huge. Like you'd always see groups like circled around trying to do it before like teachers rolled up.
I think that was gone by the time. How old are you?
34, 1990 is my birthday.
Yeah, I think that was a little before my time.
What are you?
I'm 26.
Jesus.
Yeah.
It must be nice to be young. Dude, Hilton's 25.
Okay.
A lot of my friends are younger like that. But I have like a childish like vibe. Like I'm always trying to be silly and whatnot. So I'm more attracted to like hanging out with people that are like that.
Yeah.
Maybe not immature, but like fun, you know? But yeah, like that's how I found you, was like it had to be like right before that fight, the one on Fury, or maybe it was right after it. But like since then, dude, your journey's very interesting.
Yeah, very fast rise.
Yeah,
I would say. I think it's thanks to, because I only had like 10 fights in 5 years as an amateur. But I dealt with injuries, sicknesses, and stuff like that. Like at one point, I had to sit out for like 6 months because I had I forget what it's called. It's some type of whatever it did. It swelled my spleen, and I ran like a temp, and this was like during COVID. So like you know, like when you go to work, they would gun you and stuff. I couldn't work because my temp was, you know, high because of the whole COVID thing. And I didn't have COVID, but I had something else. But I was always running a mid-grade temp. So I was like for 6 months just like not training, doing nothing when I was an amateur. So, you know, I think everything does happen for a reason. I got a lot of my coaches back. Like I got my boxing coach, Johnny, out of retirement to start coaching me. And Blake Jordan came back and helped me with my grappling and stuff. And then I just when I went pro, I stayed healthy, stayed busy, and 9 fights in under 2 years. I'm gonna try to get, if I can get one more before March, it'll be 10.
Oh yeah, dude. What led you to even finding martial arts? Like, what was the thing that got you?
Well, I grew, like I said before, I grew up watching it and stuff, but I was always like, I played basketball, football, soccer, you know, everything, but fighting. I didn't wrestle or anything because, I mean, wrestling isn't really like big in the South. For like, they just now started it. Like Adam Hicks over there at Baker High School, he started up the wrestling program. Now all these schools around Mobile County are starting to pick it up. And but that wasn't like a thing when I was growing up. Nobody did that. You could go to jiu-jitsu and stuff, but that was like, wearing the gi and stuff. It's like some karate shit. You're like, oh, that stuff's lame,
Yeah.
when you're a kid. And then, one day after work, like I was like 19. I was like, I've been just working this job as a tankerman on the boats and stuff. I was like out of town working on the boat, and because you would leave. There's like onshore tankermen, offshore. They travel everywhere, and I was watching. It was John Jones, Daniel Cormier card, the second fight. And all those guys were fighting because Robbie Lawler was on it, and he's always been one of my favorite fighters. He was fighting Cerrone, and then like I was watching it, I said, "Man, like I've been an athlete my whole life growing up. I said I could do that." I came back home to Mobile, and after work one day, I went and checked out Port City and trained there, and it was a jiu-jitsu night. It was like Friday night. Jacob Jeffers was still coaching there, and everybody in there, they kicked my ass, and I was like, all right, I could do this. I'm gonna get those guys back. And so I've just stuck it out, and 6 years later, it's my career now. So
that's dope, dude. It's like hard to describe to people that don't do jiu-jitsu or any martial arts, like what you can truly get out of the sport itself.
Yeah.
Like it's not just like people hitting each other or like trying to break each other's arms or anything like that. There's something past that, and it's really hard to describe that because it's not like you can touch it. You have to do it to know what it is. Like I've never fought fires, but I'm sure there's something like that to that. Like people fight fires because what it does for them and like what they want to provide for the community and shit like that. Like it's got to be more than what meets the eye, and like that is for sure how I would describe martial arts to somebody that's like thinking about it or like is even opposed to it. Because when I first found fighting in general, World Star was huge.
Yeah.
But you'd be seeing people get like soccer kicked to death.
Yeah.
So that turned me off on like any sort of like hand-to-hand combat because I was like, dude, fights are not even fair. And it took me, I think it was probably Tough One that I was watching where I was like, it was you're getting to see the people behind it. It's not just people fucking fighting. So I got to see that and like how it like builds to something, and it's not just people trying to kill each other, and that hooked me. And then like, I mean, obviously the finale, everybody was like on about like that changed the world for MMA, and it just gathered steam from there. And I can't remember how long after. I don't remember what year that was, but I started in 2016 because I was just like, why am I not doing that?
Yeah. That's around the time I think I started too.
Really?
It was like right after I graduated in 2016, so
okay.
It was like 2017, I think. So at the end of 2017, I think I started training. So
okay.
I kind of jumped into it too around that time, I guess, about a year later.
Did you start striking?
I did everything.
Everything all at once?
Once.
I think that's the best way to like sample it. It's like, what do I really want to do? And like sometimes you just fucking go that way. Like you get everything and you continue on all of it. Sometimes people fall off of jiu-jitsu and just do striking, vice versa. Do you ever see like anything past your career? Like, do you ever want to coach or anything like that? No?
No, when I'm done, I think. Yeah. I might roll into like an open mat every 6 months, be fat, and then dip, maybe. We'll see. I'm not too like big on like I don't think I put a gi on in like 3 years now. Like I'm not too big on like getting a higher belt. I'm a purple belt, but I think I got 2 stripes on. I don't even know. Yeah. It's not a big deal to me because I train jiu-jitsu every day and stuff like that. I wall wrestle every single day. I'm wrestling every day, and I guess it doesn't really matter when you're out there what your belt is, because I've choked black belts, I've tapped black belts, and I just beat one, I ground and pounded one out a minute ago. I was trying to get the sub on him because, it's like a little thing. Like, they were making it like a point, like before I fought this last fight, that, his jiu-jitsu's pretty good. He does all these grappling tournaments, and he's a black belt. He does combat jiu-jitsu and stuff. And I was like, damn, if I could sub that guy, it'd be like, so what? You know what I mean? I like to say, like, well, I'm a black belt in fighting, so it's like, I don't know. It's different when you're out there. When you're getting punched, it's a different game when everything's involved. So
I think it's definitely different per the sport, because jiu-jitsu versus MMA jiu-jitsu is so different. Like the way you apply it, because you have to worry about strikes. Like in jiu-jitsu, you can have really fucking good dudes in the room that are lazy and they just lay on their back and they counterattack, or they just work from positions where if strikes were involved, you would get fucked.
It's kind of like not this past weekend, but the weekend before with Kron Gracie. It doesn't work. Like, I mean, jiu-jitsu works, but just pure jiu-jitsu, like if it's not like MMA based, like with strikes, with wrestling, it's not good, because you lay on your back the whole round. You're throwing up, going for arm bars. You're going for triangles. You're going for shit everybody deals with every day. Everybody knows about. Like, if you're in the UFC, you're not getting triangled unless you suck. I think is what I like to say. Yeah. So
there's a lot of things like that. Like, you don't really see like the most basic jiu-jitsu moves being pulled in high-level MMA often. Like arm bars, triangles.
And then, like, if they do get stuff like this, is when they're knocked half out. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I was just talking to RJ about this too. Like the Denise versus Poirier fight. How many times he went for the guillotine, and the like knockout sequence, he just came off of squeezing a guillotine.
Yeah.
Let go. I think it was like 3 strikes, and the third caught him. Mm-hmm. So in my mind, I'm like, was the guillotine tight enough that when Denise stood up, was he like seeing stars? Like, was it so tight that he had less blood in his head, and then it was a perfect punch.
Yeah, but I would say Poirier hits pretty hard too. So
yeah,
I don't know. Would that affect? I'm not sure. I've never been choked, half out and then knocked out. So
yeah, I mean,
I can't really say.
I don't think it would help.
It might happen one day. I'll let you know.
I hope not.
Yeah, I hope not either. But I'm a realist. Like, a lot of people, like, I think it's good to be delusional, I guess, in MMA, but that's just not the guy I am and stuff. Like, I'll probably never be world champion or anything like that. I started when I was like pretty much 20 years old. These guys that are champions and stuff, they've been, since they were toddlers training, or they got some crazy, like, where they wrestled in college, or they've been wrestling their entire lives, and I'm just some guy that's like, I could fucking do that. And then here I am. So, I do think I can't compete with those guys at the next level. Obviously the Contender Series fight was a bad example, but I got caught, I believe. But the fight before that, I fought, I beat a guy that had 2 wins in the UFC, and one of those wins was against a guy that was like 20-6 and like had other UFC wins. So, and then the ones he lost was competitive. Nobody finished him other than Nate Landwehr. So I know I can be in there and compete. Then that's really all I'm trying to be. I'm an entertainer. I'm just trying to get in there, and I want Hall of Fame fights. Everybody else, they want to be champion. They want to be one of the best fighters in the world. I want to be one of the best fighters in the world too. That's what I'm working for. But if I don't get that, that's okay, because I'd rather go down as, damn, dude, every time that he's on the card, he may not be the main event, but that's the one I want to see. That's going to steal the show. So I would like to get 2 Hall of Fame fights or something like that in the UFC. So I just got to get in there first. Got to get my chance again. And I think I got a pretty good shot at getting back, my management says. So I'm just going to stay ready.
I think so, dude. Like, I maybe this is just because it's regional, but I feel like you have like similar Poirier vibes. Obviously he came from the general area.
Yeah,
New
Louisiana.
Orleans. Yeah. But the whole like style to me is similar. Like, your stand up, but you are there for a good fight. It's not like you're trying to have a perfect record. Like, for sure he doesn't have a perfect record, but he is hard to get out of there. It's not like people are knocking this dude out ever. Like,
it's funny because like when I lost that Contender fight, I was like, damn, dude, you start doubting yourself a little bit. You're like, maybe I can't compete with those guys. And Poirier was like one of the guys I like went through like his record and was looking. I was like, when did Poirier like get finished like that early? And it was like twice he's been knocked out in a minute in like the UFC. You know, Connor and then Michael Johnson, and he bounced back and. He's never been the champ. He's been an interim champ, but he's been in title fights, and the title fights he's been in are, Hall of Fame worthy fights. Like that last fight with Islam, that'll probably be a Hall of Fame fight in 10 years.
Yeah,
so,
and it's really arguable to say that he, like the knockout between Johnson and Connor, like Connor's was like, he was not out.
Yeah.
It was like a flash, like he caught him and he wasn't all there. The Johnson fight was a knockout.
Yeah.
So there's a difference there, too. Like, arguably, the Conor fight could have kept going, and maybe Dustin would have won that. We don't know. But it was, like, they called it off, obviously. But I think there's differences to things like that. Like, I think you can be in fights like that. I think you are that type of fighter where, like, maybe you don't become world champion. Maybe you do. You don't know. Like, maybe in that moment, you couldn't have... You weren't supposed to win that fight, maybe. Right. But I don't think you're going to be incapable of being on that level. I think your trajectory, whatever the fuck the word is, your trajectory is like showing that you're developing and you're still young. Like you are a young dude. You're not near your. I don't know who developed the idea of the peak, like the age.
I do have a belief like your prime years are 29 to 32.
Yeah, like you're getting close to that. Like
about 2 years.
Yeah, so who knows how much skill you'll develop before you're at your peak. And then at your peak, you're going to be learning it better, faster. You might time it correctly, become a champion. You don't know. Like Matt Serra was not the best dude in the world, but he beat the best dude in the world.
He was the best dude in the world for one night.
Yeah, that's all he had to do.
Just like Cody Garbrandt.
Yeah, there's so many crazy stories of someone who won a belt like that and then didn't keep it.
Yeah.
Cody's though looked so dominant. Like he dominated that fight. Yeah. Matt Serra caught GSP. There's like I don't know, and then Matt Serra never really did much after that GSP fight.
Well, yeah, GSP came back and took it pretty much, but
same thing with Cody, I guess. Like I think he's won like 2 of his last 6 or something like that.
He's kind of the guy. He's kind of got that brawling mentality too, but his is like what I don't want to be. Like he's a really technical fighter, and then when he brawls, it's gone.
Yeah,
like,
and
that's
literally anybody can convince him to a brawl.
Yeah, anybody. Like if you're losing a fight, I'm pretty sure what was his name? It was one of the ones. I forget his name. I would have to look. He like. Munez or something. I don't know. Pedro, yes. Yeah. Pedro was like getting his ass whooped that fight. Yeah. And then he just like bit down his mouthpiece, like come on, let's go. Yeah. And then Cody just went in and got knocked out. So I don't know. That's where you have to find the fine line to when you are making it a brawl versus getting suckered into one. Yeah. So I think that's something I'm going to have to try to learn on the fly, I think.
Yeah, I think you show enough skill that you know how to, like, stay... Because you do really good at staying on the outside of people's punches. Like, from what I've seen, like, that last Fury fight, you were able to stay and just pick. Like, he tried to brawl with you, but I still feel like you did a really good job of staying on the outside.
Yeah, I had to adjust. I would say the first 3 minutes was pretty rough there.
Yeah,
because he was trying to get me out of there. I could tell just the way he walked in. I remember just thinking like before the fight, the way he walked in the cage, the way like his people were like talking, and you could just feel like somebody has like a type of energy, I guess. And I knew like as soon as that bell was gonna fight, I was like, this guy's gonna try to knock me out like right away.
Yeah,
and I withstood it. He faded. That's all she wrote. If you fade on me, because I think my number one attribute as a fighter is my cardio. The pressure, obviously, I put on people. But in order to put the pressure on like that and keep it up, you have to be in shape. And I run like crazy. I do all sorts of things cardio-wise. And if you can't fight like that for 15 minutes and you fade on me, I'll get you out of there. But, your best bet's to, I guess, get me in the body early.
What do you do for cardio? Like what is your
my Well, my boxing coach and Jake Johnson at AMP I train with, they get me right, but it really is a lot of road work. Yeah. Like, I used to not be a big believer in like running and stuff because that's kind of like old school. There's other ways I could train my cardio and stuff. But when I went pro, I just listened to the old man. The boxing guy. He knows a thing or two. So yeah. I did. Anytime you tell me to run this amount of time, like run 3 miles at this pace or run 2 miles at this pace, like I just do it like every day, every other day. Not every day. Every day it's bad, but. Yeah. I don't know. Like now when I fight, like I've always had pretty good cardio and stuff in everything I do. Like I credit it to growing up being an athlete. And but now, man, when I'm out there, I don't start fading till like late third. If we're just brawling and going crazy, which I haven't made it to the third since my first fight as a pro. So. Yeah, it's a lot of road work, honestly. You just got to suck it up and run.
Dude, this is a wild thing. I was watching a podcast, and it had... Do you know who Ronnie Coleman is?
I've heard the name.
He's like an 8-time Mr. Olympia.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was that podcast that he was on where he was saying that... Or no, it was Jay Cutler. Very similar idea, though. 4-time Mr. Olympia. But he was saying that there was this dude that... I think he was talking about Kevin Larone, which was another Mr. Olympia finalist. He never won the title, but he's saying that in order to get into like peak position or physical peak position, I don't think that's a word for that. Whatever. We'll just use position. In order to get into peak physical shape, it took like 10 years to get like his body that way. But he said that you could take 10 years off and then be able to get right back to that Olympia shape in like 6 to 8 months, which is insane because like there's something to the body that remembers that, like muscle memory.
Yeah.
So I think the idea of like getting that cardio and stuff from like other sports throughout your life, there's something for sure there. Mm-hmm. Like the link.
I think most fighters that are like, pretty good, I would say, have done like some sort of sport growing up and stuff. Like, forgot. I'm not gonna be able to remember that guy, but yeah, I'd say that. It's funny too because like your body can pick it up like go right back to that physical shape or something, but you lose it so fast if you sit out like 2 weeks, you're out of shape.
Yeah, like for the room, like you're like, damn, I bodied this dude 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Now I'm like even with him, or he got me on something.
Yeah, that's kind of because I got the Contender fight on short notice, but like after the Austin fight, like I was like in peak shape. Like I was like the best I ever felt. Trained super hard for it, and then obviously the fight happened. My face was like a chipmunk, and I had to lay out for like a week or two because I had like. At one point in the fight, you can see it. Like I threw like this kick, and he checked it. Like checking kicks and stuff, and I had like it's still there. Like you can see like on my leg how it's like a roller coaster right there. Yeah, like it hurt so bad to like kick and stuff. Like couldn't throw kicks until like the week before my Contender fight, and I was like, but yeah, I was like laid out, just hanging out, and then I got the call. They're like, "You want to fight in 3 weeks?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'll do it. I got to." You know what I mean? I had no choice. Which I mean, it wouldn't matter if I was.
Dude, how did that feel? Like, did they call you directly, or they call you?
My manager called me, Abe.
Like, did he tell you to sit down, or?
Nah, he just said.
Because that's a big fucking deal.
Yeah, he said, "I got you a Contender fight. He goes, if you want it, it's short notice. And then you just had like a hard fight. They were like." He called me. He's like, think about it. You got 24 hours or whatever. As soon as I hung up, I was like, I'm going to do it. Like, I don't have to think about it. Everybody, like, some of my management and even my dad was like, oh man, you probably need to think about it or something. And I was like, I already knew in my head, like, as soon as I hung up, I was going to do it. So I don't have no regrets about that. I'd do it again too, regardless of the outcome. Like the UFC calls, you show. So they call me again, I'll show. I said it before too. Like it was kind of like I got to put my money where my mouth is now because after my Fury fight, I was like I think like in an interview, I was like, it doesn't matter if I'm sick.
Yeah.
hurt, or whatever's going on in my life, if they call, I'm gonna show. And then I'm sick and hurt when they call. I'm like, oh fuck, I gotta do it, I guess. And then yeah, it is what it is, you know.
Yeah.
Gamble on yourself in Vegas. Sometimes you don't win in Vegas.
Yeah. I think regardless, just taking the opportunity and having your face shown, that's gonna say something. And for them to know it's like short notice, they're gonna remember that. Like when you make it back, they're gonna remember that.
Yeah, my manager Abe was really big on that. Like, you know,
Yeah.
they're gonna call again. You just gotta stay ready. So they told me to go pick up a win, stay ready. So we'll see what happens. I've already got I got offers from, like, you know, other big promotions and stuff to come fight for. Like, I won't air out like who it is or anything like that, but you know, I want in the UFC though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sure, I can make money and make a nice living for myself in other promotions and stuff, but you know, everybody, when you get into the sport of fighting, like MMA, you're like, I want to be in the UFC. You know, I grew up watching the UFC and stuff, so I'm going to try my best to get in there first, and if it doesn't work out, I'll go make a name somewhere else for myself. I'm not too worried about it, but the ultimate goal is to get in there.
Yeah, for sure. Like, nobody starts basketball or football to not get into the NFL or NBA. Like, that's the name.
Yeah, nobody wants to go play overseas. They don't have to.
Yeah, exactly. There is good money over there, but nobody's going that way. One of the bases that I feel like I've always thought this way of, like, a good base, like why they don't recruit people from this, I don't know. Soccer.
Yeah, I think basketball is better.
Really?
Yeah, mostly because, like, well, I played soccer too. I can say you can see a soccer player too, but
I mean, they're both similar because you're always going.
Yeah, basketball.
Always going.
You know, soccer players can be a little soft, I think. You know,
like,
as a soccer player myself, I played, like, there's a lot of soft dudes out there in soccer compared to basketball.
Also in soccer, you're really not supposed to touch.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Basketball is pretty physical in the paint and driving to the basket and stuff. So I think what's his Duke Rufus said that too. He came down here for a seminar and stuff, and he was like talking to some of us, and he said that he mostly gets most of his amateur fighters, like, from basketball when they're done playing basketball in college or high school or whatever. So I kind of agree with the basketball. Football, you know, a lot of football players come over and fight too, but it's like football, you already have taken damage too, like wear and tear on your body, hitting people and stuff. So
yeah, sleep on what that damage actually does.
Yeah, it catches up to you eventually. Like, obviously, you know, my style of fighting, or anybody that fights, you know, when you get in your late 30s, probably even early 30s, depending on who you are and how fast you got to the UFC or not. Like, Max has been in the UFC since what? He was like 20.
Yeah, fucking crazy.
He was like 4-1 when he was in the UFC when he started, and you know, he's like absorbed the most damage. That's probably gonna catch up to him. Like, I mean,
we don't know.
It's easy to say, like, oh, it's already caught up to him because Ilya, but Ilya knocks out everybody.
See, I love talking about this fight because I don't think it was. People look at it because he got knocked out, and they're like, "Man, Ilya just knocked out Max." They don't look at the whole entire fight. Mm-hmm. Max was doing good.
Yeah, it was a competitive fight for sure.
Yeah, so it's not like, say he didn't catch him and it went to a decision. Who knows how the fight would have ended? Because Max could have gained speed, and since Ilya typically has shorter fights.
Yeah, I was gonna say we haven't really seen Ilya in deep waters.
Yeah,
but when you have that much power and you're that crisp with your boxing, like, I mean, he's beat the two best featherweights of all time. Yeah. So, like, where's he going to end up when it's all said and done?
Yeah, as long as he doesn't ruin his career by, like, weird movements, because, like...
And he's not even in his prime yet. If we're talking 29 or 32, I think he's 28.
Yeah.
So...
Like, I think he's talking about relinquishing the title because he wants to go fight Islam. Like... Yeah. That makes sense if that is a path that can actually happen, but I think you should be in your division a little bit.
If it was me, which is not, you know, Ilya's his own man, but I wouldn't be going the 55 after I just beat those two guys, man.
Yeah,
I would just clean out the division because if you beat those two, I like Diego Lopez, but he beats him probably. And then who's after that, really, at the featherweight right now? That
you're just gonna hit big names. Then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, unless he does something like a Bisping did, where you're like calling names out that you want to fight. Like if he calls out Aldo, just because Aldo's a big name, not that Aldo deserves a title shot.
Yeah,
right
but
now.
he's down there though.
Yeah.
He's still ranked, man.
Bisping fought Dan Henderson. Dan Henderson was ranked 10th, I think, at the time.
I'm pretty sure that was like that was like Dan Henderson's last fight. I'm pretty sure he was coming off a loss too when he got that fight.
I can't remember. I remember though that it was his final fight, and I remember that Bisping wanted to get that like knockout back.
He wanted it back.
But it's like, this is an aged Dan Henderson that really wasn't showing a lot of like progression as far as like skill. He was really sitting on that H bomb, you know.
Still took it to him.
Yeah.
I think. Let's see. I think Bisping won 3 out of the 5 rounds, but 2 of those rounds he got fucked up. You can see it after the fight.
Yeah. But yeah, like, who would you say was fighter of the year last year? Because this comes out in January.
Yeah. Did the Max and Volk fight happen?
Yep, both in that year.
You got. I think
gotta be him, right?
He's got to be him, even though it's only 2 fights compared to like some of these guys that are probably 4-0 this year in the UFC or something like that.
Yeah.
How often do you beat the 2 considered the best featherweights of all time? And you knock them both out.
Yeah. The only other guy that you didn't yet is Aldo, and those are the kings of the division. Like a Mount Rushmore of that division in history, those 3 dudes are on it. And Ilya might become on it.
Yeah.
You know, like who knows where he's going to go with it. Like if he relinquishes the title and never defends it, you could argue he doesn't deserve to be on that Mount Rushmore of that division. Because he got Volk to win the title, and then he defended it against Max.
Yeah.
It's like so technically one defense. Aldo had like 10 years undefeated.
WEC as well.
Yeah, you're looking at there's crazy stories from that. Like another 10 plus year. I think it was 12 years. What the fuck is his name? He was like kind of like Aldo, but he was maybe it was lightweight. What the fuck is his name? He lost to Cody or to TJ Dillashaw twice. TJ took the belt off him.
Renan Barao.
That's right. He had that. His career got crazy.
Yeah.
He lost twice and then like never really.
Yeah, he
put
lost
it back
the belt
together.
and he just. I mean, the primes of fighting.
Yeah.
I bet his age was like 34 or something.
Something.
It's always like that. It always seems like that. Like, look at Charles Oliveira, man. He was in the UFC forever.
Yeah.
Always in the middle of the pack. Then 29 to 32, he had his rise and he got the belt. He defended it 3 times until he lost to Islam or something like that. It's all about runs, and it's different than boxing, because boxing, you lose once, your fucking career is over, it seems.
Yeah.
But
I think it's like I meant to say this earlier with the whole like boxing versus MMA thing. I think the difference between and the reason why people give up on boxing people so quickly is like they don't reward you for having entertaining fights. They only reward you for the record.
That's how they promote it in boxing.
Yeah, I hate that.
MMA is different. Nobody cares what your record is as long as you go out there and brawl, honestly.
I mean, look at Tony Ferguson.
Yeah.
Perfect example. What is it, 7 straight now that he's lost?
And people still
will turn it to his fights. Yep. Like, there's been several fighters like that you're just like, I really don't... Like, if you like Michael Chandler, which I don't have anything against him, I do like watching him fight. Personally, I think his like personality is a little corny.
Yeah.
But it's like, to watch him in a fight, you'll watch it, even though he's lost like a lot of his UFC fights.
I think he's 2-4 in the UFC.
Yeah, which is a crazy record.
But to be fair,
the best
he is fighting the best.
The best guys in the world.
And he is taking it to him. So
yeah. I will say on the last fight against Chandler or against Charles, I really thought that Charles was going to make the gap wider. Like, I thought he was going to literally dog walk.
I thought Chandler was going to come back and win that fight.
Really?
Just how that 5th round was going.
Oh, no, yeah. Like, I'm talking about before the fight.
Yeah.
Looking at the fight, I was like, I know we respect Charles, but...
How old Charles is 34 now, I think.
He's getting on the other end of it.
But
Chandler's like 38 or something. He's like very old for the division. Like I
shouldn't say anything about like how if I think somebody's natural or not. He probably is natural, but
I think he's natural because he's so focused on that goal, and his body just is the way it's shaped.
I think some people are just like specimens, you know. I think Chandler's one of them. You look at that guy, you're like, damn, man.
He's like Sean Shirk, like how Sean Shirk used to be just shreds. He looked like a mini Olympia guy. Mm-hmm. You're like, how does your body look like that and fight? They called him the muscle shark.
Yeah.
Like, there are people that look crazy.
I mean, it's easy to be like, he's still not winning the fights. So it's like.
I even thought Charles made him look like silly. Like, he made Chandler look like kind of one-dimensional. Like,
I think Chandler is kind of one-dimensional. If he either knocks you out or he gasses. Yeah. He's always been kind of like that, too, even in Bellator. When he fought, like, I would say other than when he was younger. I don't know if you ever seen him. The Eddie Alvarez fights in Bellator, those are crazy. Like those are Hall of Fame fights if they're in the UFC. So, when he was younger, he had more of a gas tank too. So I do think, the gas tank thing is because he is older now, and it's hard too when you're older, especially when you have all that muscle. Like you see a lot of the cardio guys are like Max and even myself. They're lean, you know.
Yeah,
they're
Max,
not,
Nate,
they're not so like jacked. And then the people that have cardio issues are people like Chandler that look like Chandler. So I would say like he probably isn't. His gas tank isn't really there either because he is older now, but. Yeah. He still hits hard as fuck, so I think that's what really, really keeps him around up there too. And he could take a beating too and keep going. So
yeah. Do you have any like dream fights you want to see this year? Like if you could play matchmaker, you're UFC, you have all the money in the world, you can pick anybody from anywhere in the world, and you want to put them in the UFC and make a fight.
I think Gagey and Dan Hooker would be a barn burner.
That'd be sick.
I think that's rumored too to be what they're trying to make, so I would want to make that one happen.
Yeah,
I would say, I guess maybe John Jones and like Alex Pierre. I don't really care to watch him fight Tom Aspinall.
Really?
You know, Tom Aspinall probably does deserve to get the fighting and stuff, but honestly, as a fan, I'd probably rather. Well, it's hard to say because I don't know how good Pierre's wrestling is. I'm pretty sure John Jones could just drag it down, but I would kind of want to see it.
I think there's something interesting. And when I say dream fights, it doesn't have to make sense because, like, one of my dream fights is Hamzat versus Pierre.
Yeah.
It's like just to see that. Like, I was just talking to RJ about this, but, like, the stare down that would happen, the energy in the fucking arena before that fight, because you know somebody is literally a sniper on the feet, and then
Hamzat just does whatever he wants.
Yeah, he's just going to fucking treat you like a child. So it's like, also the weight difference. Like, yes, Alex fought at 185, and so has Hamzat. But, like, Hamzat would then maybe go up to 205 to fight him? Because he's a 205 champ? That would just be a super...
card right there.
Yeah, the cards coming up, or the fights that are going to be happening next year, are going to be crazy.
So, speaking of dream fights, I'd like to see Mighty Mouse fight Pantoja.
Yeah, that would be fun.
I want to see...
And he said, no, I'm not coming back.
Yeah, he said he's not coming back, but... For flyweights, I think that'd be a. I'd like to see how good he is because he is just running through everybody at flyweight, kind of like how Mighty Mouse was. So.
Yeah. And the thing though, Mighty has such a nice life.
Yeah, I would. If I was Mighty Mouse myself, I wouldn't come back.
I bet you, in the long run, like when all is said and done, he's gonna make more from gaming than he made from the UFC. Like the way
I don't know what he's doing right now, but this is probably making him money too right here.
Yeah, YouTube. Yeah, his YouTube's blowing up.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, social media is going to become like your retirement plan post MMA career, like for most, or for fighters that know how to make it work, you know?
Yeah.
Like it really depends on what you do with your career and if you know how to market yourself. Patty Pimblett, making way more money off social media, Barstool Sports, YouTube, than he is making on anything else. He was arguing...
That's why he doesn't probably fight as often either.
Yeah. That like I heard a rumor that he was making more money before he started in the UFC.
I feel like at this point for Patty, because he's moving up in the rankings,
Yeah.
fighting can only hurt him.
Yeah,
honestly,
for real.
because like if he loses, like that takes probably a lot of steam off.
Yeah.
So,
do you have a dream fight that you would want to fight?
Like me, like if I could fight anybody,
you got signed to the UFC, you could fight anybody.
Well, I'd have to work my way up, but let's say I was in my prime.
Yeah.
A Gagey for sure.
Hell yeah. That'd be a sick fight.
That's I met that dude when I was like 1-0 as an amateur.
Really?
Yeah. It was at the Atlanta fight. Yeah, I went to the Dustin Poirier and Max fight and it was Israel and Kevin.
The number 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, I met him, dude. I was like going to the bathroom. He like walked out the bathroom, bro. And I was like, man, dude. Yeah, but if I could have like just fight anybody, you know, it would be him.
Fuck yeah.
Because that, you know, that's kind of putting my money where my mouth is again. I want to be in these Hall of Fame fights. I want to be in crazy fights like the one I had in Dallas. So that's the guy that's gonna give it the most back. So
yeah, no shit. That's somebody like I know Dana talks about some fights where he's like, this is a barn burner fight and those never pan out. Yeah. Gaethje's one of those fighters where you don't even have to say that.
Yeah, it's just going to be that.
You just already know that. It's not like where he said Paulo Costa versus Yoel Romero. He's like, this is going to be a barn burner fight. And it wasn't. I mean, it was a good fight, but it wasn't like what we were expecting because Yoel sat back so much and he kept wanting to like blitz fight. But Gaethje, Max, you knew that was going to be a barn burner. Mm-hmm. Poirier, Gaethje, you don't have to say shit about these fights.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite fights ever, too, was the first fight between Gaethje and Poirier.
Yes.
Like, it was like a fight night card. Yeah. I remember me and my friends were watching. Gaethje was winning, dude. And then he got caught, and instead of wrestling, it's just that brawling instinct. I understand it now too, because my Contender's fight when I got hurt, there's a lot of things I could have did better. I could have sat down, I could have just sat down, lost a round, tried to survive. I could have tried to shoot a takedown, clinch him, run him up the cage, but I just bit down and said, all right, fuck it, I'm just gonna start slinging. And then sometimes you get got. You play that game, you're gonna get got sometimes. So,
but you learn and move on, man. Like I think you're just gonna add that to a lesson. And
oh yeah, I think that loss probably is gonna benefit me more than I would have won. Because if I would have won that fight, I'd feel like I'm the fucking man right now. And who knows? I'd probably get smoked in my UFC debut. So,
dude, you never know, dude. It's crazy how people their intro to the UFC like. Maybe they are the fucking man wherever they're from. Yeah. And they get introduced real quickly to the man. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like the man is waiting for you. But you need that, like what you were saying earlier, you need that delusional like approach to be like, I am the fucking guy. I'm here for a reason. And sometimes people weirdly back themselves up into a delusional state that becomes true. Yeah. They solidify the hype.
That's why I was saying, like, a lot of people think, like, fighters are delusional, which most of them are. And I think it's a good thing, though, but that's just never been my personality or how I think on things, which, honestly, I think kind of hurts me a bit because I'm more of a realist, I have a realistic like idea, like I could be like a Cowboy Cerrone, a Jorge Masvidal type career, in the UFC a long time, people tune in to watch you fight, but some days, I do feel like, man, I could be the champ, you know what I mean? So I think delusion is a good thing if it's like not like to the point where I don't have to train for this fight because I'm just so much better than this guy or something like that. But like Ilya, when his rise, I'll go back to Ilya. Like before he fought Volkanovski, he like changed his record to like 14-0, and people are like, "Man, this guy's delusional." And like he's gonna get humbled quick, and then he just smoked Volk like that. Man, crazy. Like if self belief is a strong thing.
I definitely believe that too, because like even in the Max fight, right after that, he had his own BMF belt. Yeah, and it's like he's doing moves like that, and like. Max is unshakable, but there was something that it was annoying him.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that really played much into the fight. Like, I just think that played into, like, the theatrics beforehand. So, like,
yeah, because Ilya was, like, trying to say, like, oh, he doesn't want to fight me because he doesn't want to put his BMF title on. And Max was like, I've already signed the contract, this and that. And Ilya was, like, trying to make it look like, you know, he didn't want to fight.
Yeah.
So I do think, you know, there's some gamesmanship probably in there.
Even the beginning of the first round.
Yeah.
Ilya comes out and he's like,
pointed.
Come on. And Max is like,
Max
dude,
had a good
I'm
response, though.
Yeah, very. That's such a good freestyled response. You know, because you're the matador.
Yeah.
It's like, well, come on then.
I like doing that shit too, because like on grapplers in the gym, I haven't got to do it in a fight yet, but I would always do that. You can ask like some of the fighters in our gym that are like grappling heavy, like if they miss a takedown or something, I always do like a little thing to them. But now like it'll look like I'm copying Max when I make it, so I can't do it no more. I gotta find a new taunt for when somebody can't get a takedown on me.
Dude, it's wild that will be a thing that is so synonymous with him now, because like the whole when people miss like a big hook in a boxing match, people do that.
Yeah.
Where they look into the stands. That's not synonymous with anyone.
Yeah.
That's just a thing people do now. Like,
well, maybe it won't be a Max thing since he lost that fight. But if he would have fucking like knocked Ilya out like a round or two later after doing that,
is there anything like, say you just talked about that? Is there a different thing that you want to pull in a fight that you haven't done yet?
Honestly, I don't really like think about like what I'm gonna. It's weird because like, yes, I game plan for a fight, but honestly, when I get out there, I have no fucking idea what I'm gonna do. Like I tell my coaches that too. They're like, okay, so for instance, I got like a 9-second knockout in my 4th pro fight in Mobile. Like I fought this guy. He was like 2-1 or something like that. So I had this game plan where I was gonna stick, I was gonna move and stuff, I was gonna tire him out because he was a guy that he was coming off 2 back-to-back knockout wins in under a minute. So I was like, all right, you know, he probably can pop just like me, so I'm gonna move and do this and that. And then we got to fight week. We were supposed to fight at 45, and then he called. Or they made a complaint saying that we was catch weighted at 150 or whatever. So I agreed. And then the day, like I'm already cutting weight, you know, to go to 150, which it ain't the big deal for me to go to 150. I walk around under 160. So that's why a lot of people, they want me to go to 135, but I like to eat. So
that's wild.
But I mean, I could probably make 35 because I mean, Sean O'Malley, I think, is a little taller than me. So
maybe.
He's around the same height. There's a lot of people like Corey Sandhagen's the same height as me too. So if I get a nutritionist, you know, I probably could, because I'm already under 160 now. I don't really cut at all for 45, but it's just the principle. You know, we agreed to fight at 150, and then I'm cutting weight. You know, I put on my sauna suit. I'm running the night because I do like a run the night before, and then I just wake up on weight if it's at 155, and then if it's at 45, I'm like 4 pounds off or something like that. But they called while I was running. He's like, all right, so this is what my manager called. He said, so he's not coming unless it's at 155 and I don't take any of his purse, because like, you know, you miss weight, you get like a percentage. He said he's not going to come unless he gets all his money and you guys agree to 55. So then I was like kind of mad about it. So it's like the day of the fight. It's the last fight. I've waited all night. I was pissed off about the whole thing or whatever. I was like, I'm gonna go out there. I'm gonna calm down. I'm gonna stick and move. I'm gonna do what Mr. Johnny wants me to do. You know what I mean? The fight starts. I come across. I throw like a jab. He leans back, and then like in my head, I was like, "Fuck this guy." I just brawled. Like immediately, just started throwing punches. Like, you know what? How he won his last couple of fights, I just played it to his game. I just threw punches, and then I caught him right on the chin and knocked him clean out in like 9 seconds. But that's what I mean. I had no idea I was going to do that until the moment when he leaned through the jab, just how he reacted. And then I was like, I'll go get him. And there's like a lot of times too, like I got like that head kick knockout, and then against for Savage, it was like my 3rd pro fight. I didn't think I was gonna knock that guy out like that. I thought I was gonna, you know, punch him out or whatever, and it's just instinct. Like he ran to the side, just instinctively kicked or something.
Yeah.
I don't really like to think. Like I said, I don't plan on winning. I don't plan on losing. I just show up and whatever happens, happens. I think that's why I've gotten to this point so far too, because a lot of fighters are like, they get in their own head, like I can't lose this fight, or I have to win this way, and I just let it happen. Like last fight, of course, I would have liked to have a more exciting finish last fight, but finish is a finish, I guess, on the regional scene.
I mean, I think you're gonna have plenty of opportunities to get like flashy finishes. I think you're gonna get some subs. Like you have a style that I feel like you have so many opportunities for multiple different finishes.
Yeah.
Like you have a lot of different pathways. So like,
yeah, I got a pretty good ground game, honestly. Like a lot of people don't really know about. Yeah. Which because I don't really use it. I don't have to use it, which I used some of it last fight. He was trying to take me down. He's black belt, and like I said, black belt means nothing to me. So I've rolled with some guys that are black belts, and then I've rolled with black belts like Blake Jordan. Yeah. Like I like this guy, my grappling coach, wrestling coach, both of them, Blake Jordan. Man, I go somewhere else and roll with black belts, and then I go with him. And I'm like, I don't know if that guy's a black belt or not, but
yeah. There's some two levels of that. Like, you can roll with whatever a color could be, like whatever the belt is. It doesn't matter. It's like the person and the skill, and also on top of that, sometimes you'll roll with somebody that's skill level below you, but like they're good. They're good. They got your number. They know your movements. Maybe they had somebody that was just like you before. Yeah. And they figured them out because they couldn't before, and they eventually cracked that case. And now, like they're like a headache to deal with. But I mean, yeah, there's levels to black belts. Like I have also rolled with black belts and brown belts, and I mean everything you can think of. Like, and you roll with somebody, and you're like, ain't no way.
Yeah.
What is this?
Or that guy's sandbagging hard.
Yeah. And then, dude, the worst is like when you know that they're not sandbagging, and you do something, and then they're like, oh, dude, like this is what you should have did. And I'm like, but I just tapped you. What do you mean I should have did? I did the thing, the goal. I did the thing. Or like they'll pause you before something to coach you. I'm like, dude, I don't know you from nothing. Like, this is an open mat. What are we doing? Like, I understand, like, maybe you want to teach me something, but do that after the roll.
Yeah.
I
don't know if that's the PI. Kind of looks like it.
I think this is that. It's not the. I don't know if it's the PI place, but it's like where they do the house, where they do the new tough. This is like that gym, because remember, like, this is where Chandler and Connor were like, we're gonna fight at 185, and then Connor's like, you'll do what you're told.
I'm pretty sure that's the same place in Vegas, though.
Is it in the same building?
I think so. I think I fought in that cage. I don't think this is the one in Vegas, because I don't know what that is. They look similar, though. I was trying to think. How
was that whole experience? Like,
it was fun. It was cool.
Like, you're staying in a hotel?
Oh, we got a Airbnb.
Okay.
I was rolling deep. I had like 5 people with me.
Yeah. And you were able to train, like, how much time were you there before the fight?
A whole week. They flew us out early.
Fuck yeah.
I know. Fuck yeah. I wish they flew me out. Like, because when I fought in Dallas, I flew out the day before weigh-ins, pretty much, and then I weighed in. And then Vegas, man, it just felt like I was there forever.
Really?
Because I'm there to fight.
Yeah.
I'm here to get in a fight. I mean, it was cool getting to train at the UFC PI and stuff like that. Yeah, we got a lot of times they say contender fighters don't get to use the PI, but I think since my guy was using it like for months or whatever, I got allowed to use it that week. So maybe it was like a little special thing since I took it on short notice. I don't know. But
did you get meals and stuff?
No. I
Okay.
could have picked up some meals and stuff, but I didn't worry about it because I was on weight. It wasn't a big deal for me. Like I said, I walk around under 160. Short notice isn't like, oh my God, I got to cut all this weight. It's like, all right, I just got to fight.
I assume if you're under a contract with the UFC, like once you get into the UFC,
if you're
all
in the
this
UFC,
shit's free, right?
You can use this anytime.
That's sick.
But there's like, I know Aljamain Sterling was there. I saw him. Forrest Griffin. I got to meet Forrest Griffin at the PI. I was so happy about that.
That was like my first like hero in MMA.
Sean Strickland was there being loud as hell. I remember Sean Strickland like walked in and he had like 3 cameras just following him around the PI.
Our buddy, he trains with Sean. His name's Reese Watkins. You know him?
I think I've heard of him. Yeah.
Yeah, he's so fucking funny. He has his own meme page that is bigger than his MMA page. Like it's got thousands of people. It's called Evil Baby Goose.
Yeah.
But he makes memes on the fly, like during pay-per-view events, or like he'll fucking roast.
It's like an MMA page, yeah.
Very base. Like it's so good too. Like he makes his opponents. I would never want to fight him. He just makes it insufferable to deal with him.
Yeah.
But
man, it's funny because like I won't say his name or anything like that, but since I've been a pro, I fought 9 times now. One of my opponents was very like, he would be up at like 4 a.m. like running for our fight, and he would send me a video on Instagram like, I'm out here training. You're sleeping. I would wake up in my bed and see it, and I'd go back to sleep. I'd be like, man, we all got 24 hours in a day. I'm gonna get up and run when I feel like it. But man, dude, yeah, one of those fights I had, there was a guy. That was like the first time ever I had to deal with like a trash talker too, because like I've been in all of my fights, you know, I'm a guy that's maybe it's because it's just how I am too. I'm friendly before, or if you don't want to talk to me, it's whatever, you know. Yeah. Like I'm never like going out of my way to disrespect them. I'll shake their hand, be like, nice to meet you, or whatever. You know, at the end of the day, I don't have no ill will towards anybody I fight before or after, whether I win or lose. Like, just for 15 minutes, I'm going to try to hurt you, or 25, whatever the contract is. Yeah. But, you know, at the end of the day, we all just we want to get to the UFC, or we're just trying to make a living for ourselves too, doing it. So, you know, I treat it like a lot of people treat it like this is life or death. We're warriors out there. Yeah. You know what I mean? You got a ref that's going to save your ass if something goes wrong. So I like to think of it more as like a sport. You know, like I said earlier, growing up playing sports is like a sport to me. Yeah. Not really like, oh man, we're putting our lives on the line. Like, yes, you know, there has been times when people die, but there's also been times that people died playing football, died playing basketball. You know, it's just like anything else. You know, you're more inclined to die in boxing probably because you get knocked out. You got 10 seconds to get up. MMA, you get knocked out. That's it, buddy. The fight's over. So I don't know. I don't think it. Yes, you get hurt and stuff. I don't think it's as dangerous as people trying to make it out to be. Some of these fighters. That's like the delusion thing again, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's special cases in anything. Like, who knows what that person had going on beforehand? Who knows how far they're pushing like a weight cut? Who knows how recently they were hurt in training?
I will say, though, that probably is the more dangerous thing, the weight cutting.
For sure. Dude, weight cuts don't just fuck with your brain. It's like fluid throughout your body. So your joints, you're more likely to be injured. Like, it's like you're drying out your entire, like, ecosystem in your body. So it's not just that like they're thirsty and hungry. Like if you've never been through a weight cut,
that's why I'm
not nice.
I'm not too big on going down to 35, even though some people around my team, even my management, kind of wants me to give it a try. But because I had my coach Randy, or he used to coach us until he retired recently. His wife made him retire. You know, family time, and he was a big advocate on not cutting weight, on fighting at your natural weight, because he would say, like, when you're in the UFC, you have a shitty cut. You go fight the 35, you know, you don't fight as hard or something. You don't have as much energy. You can't take as much damage. Then when you fight at 45, you know, your natural weight, or even 55, you can take a lot more damage. You can put on a crazier fight. You can get the win. Or let's say, worst case scenario, you cut the 35, you lost. Versus you cut the 45 and lost, you got fight of the night, $50,000. Versus 35, you got half your check and got your ass whooped because you didn't feel great. So I don't know. Supposed to have. Well, when I get in the show, whether it's UFC or somewhere else, I'll get a nutritionist and probably give it a shot, but I won't be happy about it.
Dude, well, with before and after this conversation we've had today, like, I think you were already going to make it there, but, like, I think people listening to this and being able to hear you talk, dude, I think they learn more about you, and I think you have the path to make it there. Like, you have the drive. Right. Like, the style is...
I got the right people around me, too. It's not just me. I got excellent management team, friends, coaches, so... a lot of people, I used to think of it like that, too. Like, I used to think, like, oh, fighting's all I got, oh, it's just me out there. But now, like, I realize I got, like... Recently, my last couple of fights, I'd say, I realized that, man, I got these people around me that actually care about me. It's not just me out there that wants to succeed. Everybody around me wants me to succeed, and I'm blessed to have them. So
yeah,
it's not a road that you're walking alone, which, might not be the case. Some fighters might actually be out there walking alone, but I'm blessed so far, and think it's helped me to get to where I'm at so far.
Hell yeah, dude. Well, I can't thank you enough for coming on. I will say, like, it's been awesome watching your journey so far, and I can't wait to see where it goes. Is there anything you want to promote or shout out before we get out of here? Like, anything coming up that you can talk about?
I'll be fighting again soon. Just tune in, and you'll get fight of the night.
Oh, yeah, dude. Well, I hope at least, like, whenever the time is right, you make it to where you want to go. But I'm excited to see the fights coming this year.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. While I shout out our sponsor, you can take one of these pins and sign the wall if you want to. It's just in that corner, that wall of fame part.
Oh, okay.
But any marker in that cup will be perfect.
All right, I'll sign it.
If you guys are interested in getting some tattoo work, Johnny Mumbles at Sacred Ground Tattoo Studio in downtown Pensacola is the best guy around. He's going to be able to do any of your ideas, brainstorm with you. I highly suggest going down there in person, checking out the studio, getting a vibe for it, getting on the books. He's done amazing work. Like I keep telling you guys, he's doing my back, and whenever my back is finished, I'll show you guys what that looks like and just the amount of work that he's put into it and how great it looks. I'm so satisfied with. Check them out on Instagram at Sacred Grounds Tattoo Studio and at Johnny Mumbles. Amazing people. The entire studio is really dope. You got him, Mackenzie, Shay, Ed the Piercer. Like, everybody there is really cool. Check them out. Check out their portfolio on their pages. If you want to get like a remember the UFC tattoo or some crazy shit, that's the guy to go to. Like I said, can't thank you enough for coming on. Thank you guys for listening, tuning in, checking out every podcast. We love you guys. We're out of here.